Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. New tariffs on imports from dozens of countries have taken effect, including an additional 84% bump for Chinese goods after President Donald Trump's retaliation battle with China. That country already responding Wednesday, vowing to, in their words, fight to the end. Amy Kiley reports that while Trump and his supporters are celebrating, many other Americans are worrying.
It's going to be legendary. You watch, legendary in a positive way.
New tariffs on imports from almost 90 countries are in effect as of today. Customs and Border Protection says most range from 11 to 50%. Also new today is an 84% bump on goods from China. Add that to boosts earlier this year, and the total hike for Chinese imports is 104%.
This is an economic Armageddon that's coming for the U.S. consumer and the economy.
President Donald Trump says his team is working on tailored deals that eventually could lower some of those tariffs. In the meantime, American businesses have to pay up. Effectively, Trump's tariffs could end up being the largest tax increase in U.S. history.
We're the ones that have to pay the government all the tariffs, taxes, whatever you want to call them.
Most economists say U.S. businesses will pass on some or all of that cost to American consumers.
That all gets billed to us, which we have to bill the consumer at the end.
Trump points out companies don't have to pay duties on American-made products. Experts say the trouble is building factories and changing supply chains takes time and money. And in the end, domestic goods might cost more than imported ones used to.
American families will pay more for food and for pharmaceuticals. They'll pay more for cars and gasoline and clothing, everything.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Closer to home, Nebraska will continue to split its presidential electoral votes by congressional district, at least for now. A bill to take Nebraska to a winner-take-all system failed to survive a filibuster Tuesday after two Republican lawmakers, Merv Riepe of Ralston and Dave Werdekemper of Fremont, broke with their own party. The bill's failure preserves the Omaha area's Blue Dot congressional district. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district earned the nickname after voting for Democratic candidates in 3 of the past 5 presidential elections. Nebraska and Maine, the only 2 states that split their electoral votes by congressional district. The 48 others award all of their electoral college votes to the statewide winner.
When the next severe weather event happens, don't get caught in the dark. Power your kitchen, HVAC, and communication systems with a Jackery solar-capable generator. Just click on our YouTube affiliate shopping tab and you're on your way.
Fire officials say dozens of acres were scorched by fire in south central Nebraska Tuesday. It happened in rural Clay County Tuesday afternoon, about 10 miles south of Aurora. The fire burned about 100 acres. The smoke from the blaze showed up on National Weather Service radar. 4 different fire departments teamed up to contain the fire after about 2 hours. No one was hurt. No word on a cause. But the continually dry conditions have prompted red flag warnings to be issued for dozens of counties in Nebraska on Wednesday. A Southeast Nebraska Police Department in the initial stages of establishing a community watch program similar to the neighborhood watch programs used across the U.S. Doug Kennedy has more on the Beatrice Police initiative.
The coordinator of the effort, Officer Courtney Brow, Interim Police Chief Jay Murphy, and Captain Dan Moss met with a dozen residents Tuesday night at the Beatrice School Administration building. Brow, a middle school resource officer with Beatrice Police, said Community Watch is about cooperation between citizens and police to address any concerns.
You guys can help us, being our eyes and our ears. You guys can see things that we don't normally see. We're out there patrolling the whole town of Beatrice, where people in your individual communities see things that might not stick out as odd or different to us.
One part of the effort is establishing neighborhood structures such as block captains who can meet with neighbors in an area, find out what concerns they have, and then communicate them to police. A citizen's guide to Neighborhood Watch was distributed to those attending Tuesday night, offering information about recognizing and reporting criminal activity and security steps that can be taken, among other things. Brow anticipates police would meet about every 2 months with block captains on neighborhood concerns. There's also an app available for neighborhood neighborhoods called Nextdoor app to communicate with police or for police to tell neighbors what to watch out for. Captain Dan Moss says he's used it in his neighborhood.
I mean, you can use it for whatever you want. You know, if people lost a dog or found a dog, you know, they can post it on there and put pictures, and they can say, hey, you know, someone, you know, ran over my mailbox, or someone drove through my yard, or, you know, and this is about when it happened. Did anybody see anything, or does anybody have anything that might record that? So you can do a lot of that stuff.
Plans are to hold another meeting on Community Watch on May 22nd at 6 p.m. at the School Administration Building Meeting Room. From Beatrice, Doug Kennedy, News Channel, Nebraska.
The city of Columbus is asking its residents to once again approve a local option sales tax and is giving them a chance to learn more about what it does for them. Hanky Hazelton has more.
Once voters receive their ballot, they will be informed on one of two different questions. Proposition A, which is about the existing 1% sales tax and the renewal and everything that will be planning to be used for cost-wise. Proposition B will be about the economic development program and all that entails.
That is public safety, property tax relief, capital improvement projects, and then the operations of our two pools, so the Pawnee Plunge and the Indoor Aquatic Center, and then also local economic development program here in Columbus. The second question is just approving the program, and that outlines how much of the 1% would get allocated to the economic development program for Columbus.
The 1% sales tax is estimated to generate $6 to $7 million, which council uses to bring many different projects and amenities the public has asked for. Mayor Buckley says this also helps fund essential equipment for first responders and law enforcement.
I think sometimes we all get hung up on saying, well, that brings you a swimming pool, that brings you a golf course, it brings you a green space in the park. It also brings ballistic vests to our police department. It also brings firefighting equipment to equip our trucks and our firefighters, and the outfits that they wear. So I mean, the array of items that the 1% sales tax helps cover is essential to us running the city in an efficient manner.
The 1% local sales option tax will start April 10th and begin at 10 a.m. and then end at 1 p.m. And no matter where you live, residents can visit one of 4 locations. And just so I get this right, I want to make sure by looking at my notes, you can either go to the Charlie Louise Fire Station, the Pawnee Plunge Park, Columbus Fire Department Headquarters, and the Columbus Municipal Airport. Reporting in Columbus, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
And a small city in southeast Nebraska hosted a team of masons and architects from across the U.S., led by a longtime stonemason from England, for a hands-on lesson in the values of maintaining historic structures using the materials they were originally built with. Tim Hackett gives us a behind-the-scenes look from Fairbury.
How do you make your own mortar and plaster? First, toss in the essential elements like lime and sand. Then just add water and watch as a chemical reaction sizzles all the ingredients together at up to 220 degrees. That's a process called slaking. Later, more water is added and everything is smoothed out into a plaster, and it's ready to apply to the gaps in a wall. That's a process called repointing, and it's what brought builders from across the country to Fairbury's historic limestone house for a 2-day workshop, teaching about the benefits of using traditional materials like lime mortars to maintain and preserve historic buildings like this one.
And this is the perfect place because it's always, you can teach this sort of thing and you just do a bit of wall, and then at the end of the workshop the wall gets taken down. I mean, this means, you know, they know that they're making a contribution to the building that will last. It's not just going to be taken out again at the end of the day. It's there, and they've made a contribution to it, and that, to me, enhances the learning experience.
This week's workshop began with a Monday lecture in the Berkeley Family Center inside Heartland Bank, one of the many historic buildings in Fairbury's downtown square. Then on Tuesday, the group moved out north of town to check out the historic lime kiln and put their knowledge into practice, concocting the lime mortar and using it to repair the joints in the wall of this historic limestone house. The house celebrated its 150th birthday last year, And by repairing it using materials similar to what it was originally built with, Topsy believes they can help the building stand for decades more, while maintaining the visual and structural quality of its initial incarnation.
We've had to rediscover lime work in many ways, and we've made mistakes over the last 50 years in Europe and places. But this material takes us closer than we've ever been to getting it right. And so hopefully that means we can have what we do will be as successful as what they did was.
With the workshop's participants beginning to apply the finishing touches to the walls after a full day in Fairbury, everyone involved can apply the lessons learned from working with this traditional material on a historic building to the work they do in the present, and for others to literally build upon in the future. In Fairbury, Tim Hackett, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.